Yo, boys, what's up? It's currently 3 a.m. and I was about to go to bed, but I had an idea and I wanted to make a video about it. So here we are. Um, so I wanted to talk about how to deal with injuries today. So I recently kind of had a little injury, nothing serious, but I was just having a little pain in my kind of bicep tendon, elbow area, and it was from squats, which is kind of strange. But it affected my deadlift and my bench as well for a couple of days, and I was just having some pain there. And I just want to talk about how I dealt with that, how to deal with some injuries in general, some things that I've learned myself and seen other people do with good success. But I should clarify, obviously, this is not medical advice. Um, Disclaimer, like, I'm not liable if something doesn't work for you, if you get hurt, whatever. Just my anecdotes. So, um, yeah, but with that being said, I want to differentiate between like big injuries and just small little tweaks and pains. So, obviously, if you like tear a muscle or break a bone or something like that, that's going to be different, right? That's going to be like a serious medical situation. You're probably going to need some medical attention for that and time off of training and the whole deal, right? So that's not what I'm talking about here today. I'm more talking about like minor little things that you just get from time to time with training, even if you're smart with it. Some things are going to happen. You really can't avoid it, but you can be smart about how often they happen and how to get over it as quick as possible. So, the first thing I want to say is that, in my experience, completely stopping training is not the best way to go. This might be kind of counterintuitive because you think, oh, something hurts a little bit, I should give it time to rest. And you do want to give it time to rest, right? Rest is extremely important. You want to get your sleep in, you want to be making sure you get your calories up, you want to make sure you are recovering between sessions. All those things are always important, and especially important if you're trying to get over a little injury. But I think the mistake that I have seen people make, and I made myself in the past, is just go like, oh, something hurts a little bit, I'm gonna completely just take some time off the gym. And I think that I've gotten better results recently when, and I'm not saying I get hurt all the time, I don't, but like, um, just whenever something comes up, like, you want to just still go to the gym, but just take it easy. And the reason for this is because joints, especially if it's something with a joint, right? You, it's hard to get like nutrients into the joint and get blood flow. And a lot of times, if you're just sitting there doing nothing, it will recover over time, but it'll take a decent chunk of time. And I've found that if you go in and just get some blood flowing, get a nice pump going, then you'll come out the next day or the next session with less pain in a lot of cases. And I should also say that you don't want it to hurt while you're doing this, right? If you're doing a movement and it hurts every time you do it, you should stop. Like, I'm not advocating that we just go in like no pain, no gain kind of mindset, right? That's probably going to get you more hurt. But I think that if you are able to do some kind of training rather than none with no pain during that exercise, I have found that that will actually give you a quicker recovery period than just complete rest. And I think there's quite a bit of science behind this. I've not done the research myself, I'll be honest. This is mostly just out of my like personal experience, but I have you guys have probably heard of guys like Von Dirick. I think that's how you say his name, the squat every day guy. I love him. He's he's really smart, and he he kind of follows the same style of training that I do. Like, kind of likes to figure things out himself and just learn from progress. And he's talked a lot about this kind of thing where um, the joints really like motion and that kind of stuff. But yeah, I think that really works. Number two, I think you're going to want to make sure that you are not out of balance, right? I've noticed that a lot of my little tweaks come from like tightness in certain areas or small little weaknesses in supporting muscles that I don't focus on as much because either they're not super like aesthetic or they don't really help with the powerlifting movements, which those two things are the main things that I focus on in training. So what happens or what can happen is you'll see a lot of gains in your prime movers, and then some of the supporting movements don't see quite as much action, right? So what this can cause is some imbalances in your like opposing muscles. And I think that a lot of times this can lead to minor like tweaks. So for example, I a long time ago I had some shoulder pain with my bench press. And the way I was actually able to fix that was I mean, obviously taking a period of going a little bit easier, but in addition, I did a lot of rotator cuff work, right? And I think that helped significantly. And also just making sure I got my shoulders in a strong position for my starting position of the bench, and just really focusing on supporting it from the back rather than just pressing with here, right? And I think that's really important because having the joint balance from both sides seems to make it a lot safer. And I think that having strength on the smaller muscle groups that you might not think about as much makes you significantly safer in your main movements. So this can also apply to like the thing I had with my elbow, right? Um, I noticed that it wasn't actually that like the tricep type area. It was actually more like in here, where like the front of my elbow, and I noticed that the only time it hurt during so like originally, what caused it was from squats, which was kind of strange I thought, and it only hurt on bench press when I was unracking it. Like actual press felt fine, but the unrack, kind of getting it into this position, like coming from that motion, always hurt a bit. And so what I kind of realized was that in the squat, um, the reason that it kind of hurt was when I tried to like get my back tightness, it required like more shoulder mobility to kind of get in that position, and there was a lot of like tension in this area, and so I think that's what ended up causing it. And so what I kind of did was I did a lot of like mobility work for shoulder and for like kind of trying to loosen up my bicep area, and I think that helped significantly because I mean like it doesn't hurt anymore, it's already fixed. So, and I'm not saying this was a major injury that I like went genius mode and fixed overnight. Like it wasn't really that serious. But like this is how you got to think about these things, right? You got to kind of analyze what you think could cause it, and then try to fix that problem, and then see, do I feel better? Am I improving? If you're getting worse, you need to stop. Like obviously, that's the real rule of thumb. If if your injury is getting worse with more training, then you should take a rest. But I find that if I kind of think about it like this and try to adjust my training to improve the injury and work around it, then it starts to get better a lot faster. So that's all I had. I mean, just some quick tips on how to get over injuries quicker. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the little rant almost that I gave here, but peace.